sad day. Today we witnessed an unprecedented attack on podcasting. While Charlie Kirk was not a Bitcoin podcaster, he was a podcaster. He was part of the rise of podcasting, a very notable figure in the podcasting ecosystem, a pioneer in his own right in the media ecosystem. And I would say, as a journalist, as a podcaster, it is a very sad day. I know a lot of people are feeling sad. A lot of podcasters are feeling scared. For the time being, we're going to be podcasting, or at least I will be podcasting in a bulletproof vest. This is the fourth turning. And, a lot of people laughed at Tatum Turnup in his bulletproof vest. Nobody's laughing at Tatum Turnup now.
We laughed at Tatum when we interviewed him a few weeks ago. But if it can happen to somebody like Charlie, that's the thing. I didn't really listen to Charlie Kirk's podcast. I didn't listen to him I didn't pay too much attention to him. And a lot of nobody else did either. So like right now it's just a stupid thing that doesn't make any sense. And if you've been scrolling the timeline the past few days, you probably think like, I want to avoid this like gruesome video. I did not want to spend my week looking at people's necks explode, and bleed out, as some people either just stand there and take selfies or, just scream and run away. But you might as well. If you're curious, you might as well look at the videos, because you really don't have a choice anymore. It's time to face reality. You're not going to be able to go on social media and not see a murder video every other post, no matter what letters. And I'm not interested in all these posts. You can't avoid it. It's unavoidable. The world is. Everybody's lecturing today on Twitter, saying we don't want violence over politics. Well, guess what? Nobody wants violence over politics, but we have violence over it. It's not new. I mean, Charlie Kirk was not the first political. Somebody who was a victim of political violence. He won't be the last, unfortunately. But yeah, nobody's for like it. The last thing we need right now is more people posting about what bad thing they're against. Okay, well, it's not helping.
I apologize. Looks like I was checking to see that we're live on Primal. Looks like we are. Looks like it works. You can go live on Primal now. That's pretty cool. We're live on Zapstream too. People are starting to flow on Twitter. But yeah, there's a lot of people trying to milk this right now. One of the things that I find really stunning is when politicians who use political violence on a daily basis in one form or another, especially the politicians that are in charge of like the National Guard or the police department of some sort, they're wielding a lot of political violence. And they go out and tweet that there's no room for political violence. I find that pretty stunning. But then there's also the motivational speaker, an influencer, the visionary, the Bitcoin wallet CEO, pioneer, that also try and use this as an opportunity. This is an attack on Bitcoin podcasting, folks. It's an attack on journalism. And we're going to see more of this. And you got to prepare. And this is the fourth turning.
Yeah, we're going to go through and read some of the crazy reactions on the timeline. Well, one of them I saw today, it was like a communist libtard, and they were doing what, half of the communist libtards do. Is like they're saying how they, argue with each other about did he deserve it or not. And this is one, he was saying like, this is horrific. He was acknowledging the depth of the situation. And one of his responses was that Charlie Kirk, and I quote, actively campaigned against the concept of empathy. And I have no idea what that means. But I think it wouldn't surprise me to log on and hear that a Bitcoin podcaster that I've listened to and I respect and I think is a good person could be accused of campaigning against empathy or something similar. I just don't think that we should be shooting people over their campaigns for or against the concept of words like empathy. It's just it's kind of crazy.
That is a strange one. I haven't heard of that. So
It's
people
another
are
purity test, right? It's just, somebody out there, their most important purity test is your, are you a campaigner for the concept of empathy? That is you can't please everybody. And then if you fail too many purity tests, you have no allies in these situations.
That's something that they didn't talk about in the Fourth Turning book, is this acceleration of purity tests.
They did actually. That was kind of a big part of it.
They talked about purity. They said that when the Fourth Turning happens, people go crazy and issue unlimited amounts of purity tests.
Well, they didn't call it purity test there, but they did talk about the politicizing of all behavior, all moral perspectives, and litigating those in public and coming to conflict over them. Yeah, that's my interpretation. It sounds a lot like purity test discourse to me.
It sounds like I need to reread that book like as soon as possible.
I think so too. I think I need to read it again as well, because it was written in the 90s, but it predicted a lot. Not down to the date or a specific, situation like what happened today, but just the broader vibes, the broader approach people start, the changes in behavior towards predictable, back towards their natural incentives. And it seems like that is the vibe right now.
Makes sense. Well, we had a good time. You have a good time with talking to Joey?
Yeah, if you haven't seen that, we went on the Canadian Bitcoin podcast earlier tonight. That should be up found. You can boost us there. I don't know if if the Canadian Bitcoin podcast audience was ready for us.
Well, I think it was mostly just Boomer. Boomer was ready for us. Boomer's always ready for us. He knows what to expect. But yeah, I was monitoring the chat. Yeah, Canadians are just built different. Canadians are built different. But yeah, one of the things I wanted to do tonight is I guess we could do live reactions to people's tweets. The only silver lining in this situation, and it feels kind of crass to even mention that there's a silver lining, but this silver lining to the Charlie Kirk situation is that my timeline is full of topics other than knots for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. It's like a cruel irony, or just maybe those guys have really bad luck. But after years of just making no progress, just insistent discourse, Tomer they could never convince Tomer or Jimmy Song that the Covenant guys, the CTV guys, seem to have found, an ally in Luke and the Nazis, some of them. And it was looking like for the first time, like CTV had a, a gambler's shot at getting activated, and then boom, nobody could have predicted a cultural black swan moment, and now nobody's going to talk about covenants again for a couple more years. And basically, the covenants guys ran out of time to get their code merged before the beginning of the fourth turning.
Do you think the podcaster assassination is an attempt to distract from Covenant?
I don't know. I have no idea. I would only be speculating, but I think that I think most people would consider anything to be a worthy distraction from talking more about covenants.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to know. It's hard to draw conclusions in these scenarios as they're developing and breaking. It seems like I've been following the story a little bit. I've been busy Bitcoin podcasting today, but it seems like the initial guy that they arrested that looked like kind of a diet version of Bernie Sanders was not the guy. So some poor guy probably is getting his life ruined because they arrested the wrong guy.
Well, it kind of seemed like after all is said and done, he was making a distraction, trying to make himself, or did something that made him seem like the shooter. And there was other video that came out of somebody who looked like they were in the prone position on top of a building 200 yards away. And that shooter, apparently whoever shot the gun is still at large. But it was, the way I thought about it, it was an old white boomer. And there's very few people in society right now, in Bitcoin right now, less or more unpopular than old white boomers. And if old white boomers had any ally looking out for them outside their demographic, it was probably like white dudes, white Republicans in their 20s and 30s who listen to Charlie Kirk. And when I saw this dude was responsible, it was not what I expected. But my first thought was like, once I found out that he was not the shooter, was that dude almost cost the boomers their Social Security, because if they lost the Charlie Kirk demographic, boomers' Social Security was getting cut. College tuition was going to get paid off for college debt. Something was going to happen. Boomers were losing Social Security if that dude is the real shooter.
I tweeted about that. I want to go to this before we start going to
Las Vegas almost went completely belly up overnight.
Have you seen this? This is what the boomers are doing now. They've got these they can't gamble their Social Security checks away fast enough, so they're bringing their massage guns to hit that little button on the slot machines. That's what the boomers are up to now. Not all of them. You have to say, I feel bad because I keep on meeting these like solid boomers out there that aren't like this. But it's hard when there's so many that are.
That regardless of there are good boomers. Of course, there's good boomers. My point is that group of people is not very popular, and I don't know. It almost seems like the fact that they didn't attach anybody, a shooter, if they're at large, it almost seems like the worst possible outcome. Because like people were worried that it was going to be like somebody from Libs of TikTok that did it, or like somebody from kiddie parties that did it. They were not prepared for the old Bernie Sanders guy. But now nobody knows who it is. It could be anybody. Some people think it's Israel. Some people think it is, the CIA. Some people think it's a distraction from Epstein. But the last thing we need right now is another conspiracy theory.
Some people think to jail. Some people thinks it's nonce runners. Some people thinks it's core runners. Some people thinks it's shitcoiners. Some people thinks it's a Bitcoin maximalist.
Yeah, somebody's speculating that it was a meme coin assassination. Somebody made a lot of money off of a Charlie Kirk meme coin.
Yeah, Predator definitely thinks it might be the shitcoiners. I mean, the assassination markets is an interesting topic theory, but we'll get to that. Um, First tweet, Ben Justman. I like Ben Justman. He's a pretty wholesome guy, I would say. What do you think of Ben? You like him?
The guy is the Korean guy, Korean wine guy.
Yep. So it looks like he's responding. Some people are giving him purity tests over him selling alcohol. He said, I agreed that technically alcohol is poison and circadian rhythm is vital. However, I think that occasionally staying up until 2 a.m. drinking red wine with people you love is medicinal. Um, I think you should be able to sell whatever you want to, and as long as it's not hurting somebody.
Oh, that I don't disagree. I just seems like a weird day to be nitpicking that kind of purity test.
I agree. Today, days like today, it's interesting because there's different ways to respond to very like traumatic events, especially like when the TV and the social media is like, shoving these videos of people's like jugulars exploding in your face. Um, Maybe today's a good night to stay up till 2 a.m. drinking red wine with your family or loved ones.
Yeah. Do we know who this afternoon, just in the context of what's going on around us on social media in the world, who was it that picked today to try to cancel Ben Justman for selling homemade wine? It's just that's also a response to trauma, right? It's like you hear about one of the most horrific HD video, assassinations. It's all everybody's talking about. And you're like, where it reminds me, Ben Justman, fucking everybody thinks he's so cool because he likes Creed, but he's selling alcohol, and that's a purity test violation. I'm going to go hold him accountable because right now I don't know if anybody's policing the timeline for scammers.
Yeah. I don't know. Shows where some people's priorities are.
Yeah.
Man, Satoshi's tweeting. This is an older one now. This is 13 hours. This is probably before Charlie got shot. What do you think of Satoshi and all of his crazy tweets?
You know, I always say that do whatever whatever it is, as long as you're proud of it. And he does seem proud of his foreign policy tweet. I don't think he should, but he does seem proud of his foreign policy tweets. So it's part, try to argue. I tried to argue with him once, make a joke. He blocked me, so he's not. He doesn't want to hear your opinion anyway. If it doesn't agree with him,
He's got some interesting foreign policy tweets. He said, so the Kiev Post posted today, it said NATO does not consider the drone incident in Polish airspace an attack. Reuters reports citing a source within the alliance. And Peter Todd responds, Satoshi responds, says, absurd, someone's house got destroyed by that Russian attack on Poland. European leadership is pathologically weak.
Well, that is interesting. So, for the context, if you didn't pay attention last night, apparently drones went through Poland, Russian drones. They were shooting them down. There was fighter jets scrambled by NATO out of Germany. The United States have sent in the F-35s. And a drone crashed into a house, which, totally shitty for whoever's house that was. Plebs are the cannon fodder in these situations. I don't know, but I was tweeting about it's a psyop because Bitcoin price didn't go down. So it wasn't like the start of World War III. All of a sudden, What Peter Todd thinks after all is said and done, without really having any answers about who actually launched those drones. That one house getting blown up, I don't know, it sounds like he wants NATO to invade Russia. He seems like he wants any excuse for NATO to invade Russia. So that's what I noticed.
Satoshi kind of makes John Brennan look mild and tame.
And John Bolton.
Sorry, John Brennan was CIA guy. Yeah, John Bolton.
What of them, really?
John Bolton, man, he was foaming at the mouth wanting Trump to invade Venezuela. That might happen. That was another. There's been so much shit that's happened this week. It's insane.
That's true.
We'll see. We might wake up tomorrow.
The biggest story is the assassination of a podcaster. But it's easy to forget, multiple new, extremely high stakes conflicts have been on the brink of exploding into broader, war.
We might wake up tomorrow and have a bunch of wars going on. There might be a civil war. The Nas versus core conflict might turn hot. We might have NATO invading Russia. Who knows who Israel's going to be bombing tomorrow? They just bombed Qatar. That was another big story.
Right. Nobody expected that. That's a good point about the prospect of war. I harken back to listening to Bitcoin podcasts 40 hours per week at least, because if you listen to 40 hours per week, you're not going to wake up tomorrow surprised that we're at war or in some new conflict. Nobody's going to be caught by surprise when they wake up and listen to 40 hours per week. You can see what's coming. You can see the conflict continuing to boil over in Ukraine, in Europe in general. The European government are losing control of their people. They shouldn't be losing control. They shouldn't have control in the first place, but they deserve to be losing. It's a mess. The French government collapsed. Everybody wants to throw Keir Starmer into a volcano in the UK. They assassinated the right-wing party, all seven members. In Germany last week, the Polish would be happy to go kill some Slavs and some Russians. Nobody wants to give the Polish boners right now or ever. What's going on in Gaza. You know what's going on in India, Pakistan. People are going full tally mode using BitChat to overthrow the government in Nepal and Indonesia. We're bombing the Venezuelans, who are big-time Bitcoiners, by the way. The cartels, I think we're bombing the cartels in Mexico. They're assassinating podcasts. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and find yourself in a brand new war unless, some people will. The people who are still trying to ignore reality, they're going to wake up tomorrow, literally tomorrow, and probably find themselves in a new world.
Can you help but be mad at the boomers?
No, I don't think. I think it all points back to the boomers. Everybody wants to blame Israel, but they don't want to blame the boomers.
I'm getting somebody messaging me some breaking news, but I don't want to read it. There might be some big news tomorrow. Oh, it's not war related. It's I don't know. I guess we'll talk about it when it gets public. But just totally lost it. You can't read messages in the group chats at the same time as podcasting. It's a really bad idea. Maybe this is why women have the potential to be really good Bitcoin podcasters. They can multitask. Women are known to be able to multitask a lot better than men. Looks like Rod is or maybe it's already circulating news. I don't know. What do you think, Rod?
Are you talking about the let's put it this way, the thing that Jewish lawyers are involved with?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's public. I mean, I know people are talking, not that many people are talking about it because it's not that interesting to. I think Magoo will be pretty interested in this. Aldo Magoo. Aldo Magoo is like, whatever, like, I don't know. I don't know if we have to talk about this specifically, but let's just put it this way. Vindication for Aldo Magoo. Everybody was telling Aldo Magoo he did not know what he was talking about, and his FUD was there was no precedent legally for it, so he was just talking out of his ass. Turns out that annoying little fucker was right.
I'm on Magoo's page right now. It doesn't look like he's
I don't know if Magoo knows about it. Magoo hasn't been super engaged in Bitcoin Twitter stuff lately. Aldo Magoo is spending most of his time being surprised that Donald Trump is doing something stupid. I don't know how many times, I don't know why people think Magoo is so smart, but if he's still surprised by Trump saying stupid shit and doing stupid shit, he's kind of like Mike Brock in that sense.
Yeah, he's behind the news. Maybe Plutter sniffed it out. He's kind of behind the times. Plutter's been spending all his time complaining that Sequence is launching their live streams late.
Yeah, I think that's funny. I think that I would dare say that nobody is more disappointed when Swan and Sequans cancel a planned live stream than Predator is. I think Predator really goes out of his way to watch this. I think he enjoys them.
Have you ever watched a Paper Bitcoin live stream? I haven't. I haven't yet.
I don't. No, I have not.
I'd like to, the Predator, if for some strange reason you're watching this or somebody tells you about it, I would love to do a live stream watch party with you for the next Sequence live stream.
Yeah, we would love to make fun of the Sequence live stream with Predator sometime. I think that would be like a really, I think what we need right now, not just in this country, but in this industry, in this community, is moments of healing, coming together and unblocking other journalists who you blocked a long time ago and just never give them a chance, second chance. I think that would be a really healing live stream. Would be Buell and Predator, Duncan on Sequence. I would love to make that happen.
It'd be beautiful. He hasn't blocked me yet. I think I'm the only one that's not blocked by him. Doesn't respond to my DMs.
We talked about this, and it's looks like we're looking at it right now. I just love that, the gravity of what happened today, how heinous it was, and just the way that everybody was reacting to it. Everybody had their own reaction to it, right? But Predator's first reaction was to go to Pump.Fun and see if anybody had made a Charlie Kirk meme coin to pump a dump on the assassination is. And so that's what he tweeted. An influential person gets assassinated minutes later on Pump.Fun. Well, brother, it is disgusting and shitcoiners are pretty degenerate, but you're the one that went to Pump.Fun as your first reaction. Time to look in the mirror.
So I think this my first time in a long time going to Pump.Fun. I'm on the website right now. and they have a little disclaimer to get into the website that says I'm ready to pump. So that means that in order for Platter to view the site, he would have had to hit that yes on that disclaimer that he was ready to pump.
Oh my God. Platter was ready to pump this afternoon. Well, a lot of people were ready to pump this afternoon, different reasons.
I mean, I feel like they set up a failed purity test. It's like a trap going to their website and clicking that disclaimer. They get Predator every time that he's going there to hold people accountable. But yeah, it looks like the Charlie Kirk meme coin is like the third one in the featured category. Looks like it's already down 90%. So when did they launch this? It looks like they launched it right when he got shot. Probably. It's right around here, right?
Yeah, they probably, you know.
What was the first?
I wonder which Discord server you got to be in to be in early on one of these, you know?
I keep on getting notifications. It looks like Nick Foster is zapping us. Nick Foster asks, Mr. Greaser, how many cigarettes does the new 2 terabyte iPhone cost? Let's do some math. Do you know how much the new iPhone costs?
I don't. I'll look it up right now.
I keep on seeing people tweet about it.
Yeah, people are excited. Memes, but I didn't see the price. Yeah, I figured it'd be must not be too bad because, you know, he's complaining. No, it's like $1,000.
Well, the 2 terabyte one costs more. Well, if it's $1,000, that's 1,000 cigarettes. Sorry. No. I'm doing math at the end of the day. I'm a journalist.
I don't think Jeff Booth's theory about deflation will start kicking in soon. We get one of these 2 terabyte iPhones for, you know, 50 cigarettes or something.
Roughly, yeah. I mean, it's roughly 1,000 cigarettes. Depends on how you price cigarettes, I guess. You pricing them loosies, it's 1,000. The problem is the packs fluctuate and cost so much. I think I bought this.
You know, it depends if you need new parts or Turkish, you know, some kind of Turkish blend. It's kind of like what we talked about though, Spitfire. I'm glad that the cigarette companies, the tobacco companies, do not get as retarded as the coffee guys, like worrying about exploiting each other in the supply chain. Just give me the cigarettes, bro.
Well, the nice thing about Bitcoin going down recently is it makes calculating the price of cigarettes a little bit more easy. There was this when we were right at that 100,000 range. It was so easy to price cigarettes.
Should go back to Twitter, see what people are talking about.
Predator.
Just hit that For You tab. Let's see what Twitter wants us to think about tonight in amidst all of this. You know, somebody said Twitter's got the zoomies today. That sounds about right.
Yeah. Got Charlie Spears. You even listen to any Charlie's podcast?
Yeah, I like him. I
was
think,
listening.
yeah.
I was listening to the one that he did with Colin Harper. I'm not sure what it was called, but I thought it was pretty good. But he says Bitcoin is for enemies, not for JPEGs.
It's true. That definitely wasn't a tweet for the algorithm.
That could mean a lot of things. Samson's tweeting about how Ethereum sucks. What's his play here? He tweets about Tether and then talks about how Ethereum sucks, but Ethereum is how everybody uses Tether. Is he a fan of Tron?
Well, he probably wishes they'd use Tether on Liquid.
I mean, what's Liquid look like right now? Let's look. Oh, they don't have that as an option on.
Liquid really hasn't been on the top of my mind today. I don't think Liquid has been on a lot of people's minds today. Or most days.
Yeah, I think it's most days people aren't thinking about Liquid. Every once in a while I'll hear about it. Jimmy Song was saying that we don't need covenants because you can do it on Liquid. So
Jimmy's probably about as much real demand for covenants as there is Liquid, so might as well combine them.
That makes sense. Yeah, maybe Jimmy's right about that, but Jimmy's thinking about Liquid. It's like my whole feed is just Ben Justman. I guess Twitter knows that.
If you watch Ben Justman, you follow him. He's got like a professional camera crew that follows him around and takes. They're not open mouth thumbnails, but they're kind of like, you know, Mumford & Sons, hipster modeling pictures.
I just gotta say, I love Ben Justman so much. All right.
What's love?
We got Lumka saying.
Lumka, I don't know if Lumka knows how to tweet without doing the read more, going over the characters. He's a self-admitted word cell. He loves AI too. You'd think maybe that is what AI condensed his stream of kite. Anyways, he goes, "This feels like a historic moment, both a tonal breakdown and future test of values that built this country. The only way through this period will be one of honest reckoning with the forces which have shaped the last 2 decades. If we cannot speak clearly and openly about how we got here, the only remaining options are likely worse than you would want. America is and has always been an ideological country. The country was founded on ideals, and the forces which have taken us to this point have been a widespread adoption of mainly contradictory ideals. These two sets of ideology are likely fundamentally incompatible with each other. And this must be truly and legibly hashed out in the public arena. While there's certainly much more going on here than ideas, none of this is separate from ideas. To maintain an intact nation, we must put the ideas of the last few decades on trial, and we must decide. I agree. I think that a lot of people, whether they articulate it that way or not, did agree with that before today. The problem with today is that the dude who literally his podcast, his entire persona, his whole mission was doing this, like getting people in a debate, a discourse about their ideology. He was, he likes to bully and pick on retarded libtards at college. He did a really good job of it. He was, Ben Shapiro kind of started it, and Charlie Kirk mastered it, and they killed him for it. That if you try to do what Steven's doing, you're putting your life on the line, and that is one of the cruxes of we have to hash this out, and people who are willing to be honest and tell the truth, or at least tell the truth based on their ideals and their perspectives, are getting their necks exploded. It's It's a this is like reality TV today. This is the result of that. And that's the problem. And Bitcoin podcasters, or we pride ourselves on being outspoken, having challenging, controversial ideas. Some of that's a LARP, not all of it. But this is why, I mean, this is why you're wearing a bulletproof vest, right? Like, sharing your ideas on your Bitcoin podcast could cost you your life now.
I think we need to consult the Bitcoin veterans and see what type of bulletproof vest is proper to protect you while you're podcasting, while you're debating these ideas in the public square. You know, this is kind of like kind of like a naive view, I think, by Steven. And it's a view a lot of people like to say, like, you know, the ideas need to be discussed in the public square. There needs to be a marketplace for ideas. Like, you know, the problem is that a good portion of society is dumb. They don't know how to discern accurate information. And that most of the ideas being hashed out in the public square are dumb. You just look at the share of market share of people listening to Bitcoin podcasts versus non-Bitcoin podcasts. But like, I agree, people should be able to speak, and it is pretty wild. Like, I think if you're having to resort to physical violence over ideas being spread in order to protect your view. I mean, I guess it's way too. A lot of us are making conclusions on the motivation of the killer. I think the assumption is because he was a podcaster that got killed. It was motivated by trying to control speech, but I think one of the unfortunate realities of the fourth turning, and I don't want to participate in any of it, but one of the unfortunate realities of the fourth turning is violence. Like, it's just as like one of those inevitabilities. And we're just watching it play out.
Yeah, this is one of those situations. You say you don't want to participate in any of it. I don't either. And that's, again, what people have been kind of talking about in so many ways to say the same thing, is that we want a society that puts politics and free discussion over violence. We want that. Well, trans people want to be the other gender and they want you to affirm them. You know, but that's just not the truth. You know, people want utopia. They want Bitcoin to work the way that they believe it should work. They don't want anybody else to have any impact or influence over it. And any control by somebody else is, you know, an attack on Bitcoin. It's evil. It's worth death threats. You're committing a death threat against Bitcoin, whatever that means. But not everything blows down to something that retarded. The point is that, I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but it's
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, like, it's okay to get wrapped up in an idea as a utopian vision for it and getting all excited about it.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah. My point is, well, we want this violence and we want what it seems like we're going towards. But too bad, we're already there. Yeah, that's the point, right? You're not going to wake up, tomorrow's World War III, tomorrow's Civil War. We're already there. Somebody had a point the other day, or earlier the day I read, and it said, anything that happens next because of this was going to happen anyway. And to an extent, maybe that's hyperbole, but it's not. Like, this has been set in motion, and if you still don't notice that, you still don't recognize that, this is why we're talking about you need to listen to 40 hours of Bitcoin podcasts per week, because none of this shit should be surprising to you, and you should be anticipating more unexpected, crazy, scary stuff like this, it's not just going to get better.
Yeah. I think it's okay to get excited about things because you get bought into the utopian vision of it. But at a certain point, you're gonna become an adult and just like understand that whatever your utopian idea was dumb and it wasn't realistic. You can have a utopian, like create these utopian ideas, I think on a micro level, but the macro level of trying to control everybody else, like just because you got all excited about Bitcoin and you understand it and you listen to 40 hours of Bitcoin podcasts a week doesn't mean that because you were able to get it that everybody else in the world is magically going to get it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of this. I'm still waiting for this moment when Bitcoin defunds the state and stops war. It's interesting. Ever since the strategic reserve happened, it seems like the war's just been ramping up. Kind of an interesting phenomenon. What do you think? Is this part of the game theory?
Can you repeat that again? I think I grok what you're saying, but war's been ramping up as it relates. So like Bitcoin is racing us towards war, or the strategic reserve itself?
No, we just all these Bitcoin podcasters have been talking about how Bitcoin ends war. We got the strategic war reserve. It seems like war is just ramping up. What's going on here? Was the utopian vision a lie, or is it too early to say that? Or
whenever my approach to this question is always the answer is lower your time preference. I don't know. I don't know if Bitcoin, the strategic Bitcoin reserve, is the magic bullet that it pulls the United States out of war with, in the Middle East, just all the Israel stuff, the wars that we're trying to help them manage. I don't know if Bitcoin is the strategic Bitcoin reserve is the magic bullet to get us to stop assassinating, people in the global south and running coup against their governments and throwing them out of helicopters. I don't know, but it might be. And we'll find out eventually, but you just gotta lower your time preference. I think it's too early to be positive, I think, and celebrate, but it's obviously, it's also too early to give up. But Justin Batchelor, he's been ready to give up on the strategic Bitcoin reserve before Trump even took office. He's so against it, but we have to give it time.
did you watch Trump's Oval Office speech yet?
I did, yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. Should we play that real quick?
I think people can go. Well, yeah, maybe play some of it. It's a little bit long.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith.
He was respected by youth, yeah.
He was he made boomer conservative politics cool for the broccoli haircuts.
Broccoli haircuts, the first thing they did was make a meme coin when he passed. He was popular. So this is another thing that I think is important. Charlie Kirk was incredibly popular with with dudes under 30. And I don't mean this to be like alarming, but it's worth knowing. The murder of Charlie Kirk is inspired and angered a lot of military-aged males in the United States who are already getting pretty fucking pissed off and like fed up with things. Maybe they beat the shit out of Broccoli haircut, Big Balls. Remember Big Balls? He got beat up trying to help somebody being assaulted by a criminal in Washington, D.C. That was part of like why they brought the National Guard. It's a very hot conflict with these type of people, and it makes me think that the only ending here is going to be like we're gonna tear down George Floyd statues to replace them with Charlie Kirk statues. Not just metaphorically, I think literally. I think that's part of how this ends. It's not a joke. I think they're gonna replace the George Floyd statues with Charlie Kirk statues.
I was kind of hoping it'd be the hot Ukrainian girl.
Yeah, well, we got enough Ukraine memorials and flags out there right now. God bless her. I really,
hot blonde Ukrainian girls are different than a Ukrainian flag. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point.
One of the things I just want to say real quick. So I went into the comments of the post. So I started seeing this rhetoric being shared around on Twitter, on Telegram. So American AF says we need this. So apparently in 2013, Trump tweeted something about needing a public execution. Says should be public execution for all to see. You will end this bullshit fast. The one issue I have with that, I'm not really going to comment on the merit of public executions, but the one issue I take with the timing of the tweet is they still haven't found the guy yet. And it sounds like the first guy that they arrested that everybody was able to willing to crucify, wasn't involved in the shooting at all. And I think this is kind of like this is like one of those dangerous spots you get into with the vigilante justice when people are out ready for blood, ready to lynch people. I don't really like that very much. And part of the reason, like, I think it's just like, people need to slow down and they need to ask, what if you were the innocent person in this situation? How would you want people to treat you? Would you want them to get angry at you and just like hang you from a tree by your neck with a rope? Or do you want them to slow down and think and make sure that they got the right guy? I don't know where we're getting these stream chats from, but Charlie Spears just commented. Yeah, Charlie said, good thing we got our vests on. Charlie, you got to get a vest too, man. After, kind of the timing of Asanoa Gold tweeting about how the spammers are creating death threats on Bitcoin and then Charlie Kirk getting shot, I think it's a good time for Bitcoin podcasters to follow Tatum's example. Charlie says he's watching on YouTube. That's interesting. I didn't know anybody knew that we had a YouTube channel. Yeah, Rod. I don't know if we should ramble a whole lot more, but yeah, what a weird day, folks. It's a sad day. It's a real day. It's been a pretty crazy.
It feels like a big day because I think it is. I don't know what happens next or how fast it happens, but Bitcoin doesn't care. Did you agree?
We'll see. Yeah. I mean, Bitcoin's down a little bit or up a little bit today. Didn't really move. All right, we were chatting in the group chat the other night. You had a great comment, which was that you knew that the Polish situation wasn't a big deal because the Bitcoin price didn't crash.
Right? They're trying to make it seem like NATO and Russia were facing off, like the hot war was kicking off, like this was this huge alert. Nobody saw it coming. The implications, this and that. Bitcoin was like not even down 0.5%. You know, when Israel and Iran have their little fake psyop missile launch wars back and forth, like the afternoon before that happens, like Bitcoin dumps 7%, 10%. They didn't do that in Poland, so I don't know. I just wasn't buying the hype, I guess.
Maybe that's why Satoshi wants NATO to attack Russia so that he could buy the Bitcoin dip. Maybe he's a little bit long fiat right now.
That makes more sense.
What? All right. One last tweet. What the hell is this? Alex Leishman says no more debating.
I think, Charlie Kirk, his thing was debating, and he's not going to do it anymore. Maybe he's...
Yeah, I don't know. You got all these goofballs. He's probably talking about Charlie Kirk, but you got all these goofballs talking about Corvus.
Yeah, I think it's, I think it's, I think he's saying that we have debated enough about whether we should shoot and kill podcasters, and we're done debating. We don't think that it is okay.
I hope so. I don't think that's the context of what he's saying. But I don't know. Well, anyways, let us know if you like this stream. We'll probably do stuff like this in the future. It's been a long day. It's been a long news cycle. Started out early. You were tweeting about the Vatican, their stance on nodes. Thought that was pretty interesting. And then we had a podcaster get shot. And then there's wars going on.
Looks like Boomer tagged us. Frankie McDonald posted a video. Frankie McDonald, the Bitcoin guy. Frankie posted it. Says, I wasn't anywhere near the state of Utah at all. Period. So Frankie McDonald was distancing. You want to make sure people knew that he was not responsible. Thank you, Frankie. I think that counts as a denouncement of violence.
I don't know. Is that enough to vindicate Frankie? Should he still be on the suspect list?
I don't think Frankie hurt a fly.
Every time something happens, Frankie makes sure to let people know that he's innocent. If you do that enough, you might be guilty. With as little as the authorities seem to know on the actual shooter, if they, I guess we haven't been checking the news since we've been streaming, but it doesn't sound like they apprehended the guy yet. I guess you got to keep all options open.
And let's face it, no way the plebs on Twitter are going to buy the fact that they're not going to believe whoever they catch is the person behind it. We probably will never know or feel 100% sure that they caught the right guy. Everything's a conspiracy these days. That's all. This is just the next one.
Well, before we wrap this up, you got any closing thoughts? Do you want to talk about a Kit Sats tweet?
Always.
All right. She's got some profound stuff she's been tweeting recently. I haven't read this yet, but I just assume it's profound. Just a hard hitter right here. Sometimes I still can't believe they let regular people like me buy Bitcoin.
Well, that's the beauty of Bitcoin to sats. Whether you're a regular person, whether you're a libtard, whether you're a Nazi, whether you're the CIA, it's not about them letting you. It's a permissionless technology. And if Kit Sats could figure out Bitcoin and how to get some, anybody can. I think it's a good message.
She has the most profound tweets. She's truly a philosopher in her own right. Let's look at, I think this is a good way to close it. Let's go through her other profound tweets she's got. All right. She retweeted people about Jesus. Let's look for some originals. Here we go. Sometimes I stop tweeting about Bitcoin to scroll Bitcoin memes instead.
Relatable.
So profound. I'm going to let her know. Profound. All right, let's see what's her next banger. She's retweeting Mike Alfred. That's interesting. So, I already read that one.
What's more sus? Selling alcohol for Bitcoin or retweeting Mike Alfred?
Well, she retweeted Mike Alfred and Nick Carter. And he got platted on the case. What's going on over here? Fun fact. In 2030, people will wish they bought just 0.01 Bitcoin in 2025. 833 likes.
I think people are going to wish they bought, as much Bitcoin as they could, more than 0.01. But yeah, I mean, I always wish I bought some sats in the past.
That's such a fun fact.
It is fun. Do you think 0.01 Bitcoin will be enough for your mom in a retirement home in 2030?
That's a good question. Would that be enough to afford getting all the Thetans out of me in the Church of Scientology by 2030?
Maybe.
She's retweeting Gary Cardone. It's quite a she retweeted Dieter.
Well, folks, remember to think for yourself. It's going to be really easy to outsource your thinking. Next few days, next few weeks, next few years. Not everybody has to run it out, and not everybody has to think for themselves in every situation. But if you are going to outsource your thinking, be very, very careful.
Yeah, Bitcoin veterans, let us know which type of bulletproof vest that you think Bitcoin podcasters should wear. Should it be just basic Kevlar? Should it be a level 3 plates? Should it be level 4 plates? I guess I haven't looked at bulletproof vests for a while, but I need to get a press patch for mine. I think I'll get that one of those tonight.
I think the last thing you want right now is a press pass. I think you want a bulletproof vest And I think you wanted to cover anything that tells people that you're the press. I feel like that's probably going to make you a bigger target.
So should I get a protester patch then?
Podcaster. I don't know. That might not be good either.
Podcasters are the targets today, though. Yeah, I don't know. I need a patch, though. All right, folks. Thank you for tuning into this impromptu stream, and we'll catch you sometime soon.